Hey guys, it's Ornlu. So, in case you haven't noticed, I have been uploading a bunch of the campaigns in AoE2 DE onto my YouTube channel, but that is a fairly long process. There's 157 scenarios in this game across 27 campaigns. So, yeah, that's going to take a while, but I thought as an interesting, fun little, I guess, holiday-timed project, I would give you guys my opinions on the top 5 hardest campaign scenarios in AoE2 DE. I guess the only caveats here being that it is, of course, my opinion from having played all of them on hard, so I guess I am talking about hard. And the other being that I am talking here about the specific scenarios within the campaigns. I don't really think you could do justice to, like, campaigns as a whole because individual scenarios within them are easy or hard. So I'm talking about specific scenarios within the 157 or so official release scenarios. So without further ado, let's get into this and start with number 5. Starting things off here at number 5, we have Bayanong 5, the Old Tiger. So this is from the Burmese Bayanong campaign, of course, from Rise of the Rajas, and is the final scenario in this campaign, where you are tasked with taking down the Rakhine state, an option or objective that is kind of dubious in the modern context. But regardless, you have a very set number of units to begin with. I think it's like 160-some military, and must escort Old Man Bayanong so he can go to all of those temples. As you can see in the clip here, I almost lost him, even just from trying to record this clip. And yeah, you have to protect him while he meditates, and you will not be able to get any reinforcements or extra troops or anything like that until you have completed all of the meditations. And to do that, you have to pretty much go through a huge amount of enemy territory. You have to strike really fast because the enemy have infinite resources, and you get no reinforcements until, like I said, you complete all of those meditations. Then you do get a huge amount of resources, like DM level resources, and at that point you just have to defeat everybody. Which sounds really easy, except you don't get any economy behind this, and once you run out of resources, you are completely dead in the water. So yeah, you gotta go fast. You have to make sure that you're microing on 2 fronts to begin with, and then micro on land, on water, and just make sure that you are being as insanely cost-efficient and quick as possible. Really, the only thing that makes this somewhat manageable is the fact that you do start with a huge army, and your opponents don't start with that large of an army, so if you do get it down right and how many units you need to send where to destroy the buildings and all that, it is doable, but definitely not one of the easier scenarios out there. Coming in at number 4, we have the Dai Viet Uprising, Laloi 1. So also from the Rajas campaign, this is from the Vietnamese campaign, Laloi, and you'd think, oh, it's just the first scenario, how bad could it be? Yeah, it turns out it can be pretty bad. So it seems rather innocuous enough. You first have to, liberate your allied towns from the Ming, but then you have the caveat where you have your 2 allies, the Trin and Nguyen, who will totally die unless you save them. And if they die, you die. And you have a small pop limit, you start in the feudal age, and you're against, again, infinite unit spam. And it's hard, like, you have limited resources, you can run out of gold, you're just trying to scramble to, chew through all of the enemy armies just to get to those villages where you then have to fight everyone in the village, and it can be a total pain. And yeah, your allies totally die without you protecting them, so you need to make sure you do that. So again, be careful here. It is somewhat mitigated, I would say, by the fact that yes, you do get an economy, and that's pretty important. And it has a fairly slow start, so you can, get yourself situated, get up to Castle Age, get the sort of army composition you want, get battle elephants, get crossbowmen, rattan archers, all that sort of thing. But yeah, definitely be prepared to fight a lot of Chinese units in this scenario, and get a rude welcome to the Laloi campaign. I'd say it's harder than Bayanong 5, just because you have the allies that you need to protect that's kind of out of your control, and you just need to multitask all over the place and have such a low pop limit, even though you're not working with post-imp on either side. Yeah, it's definitely a tricky one for sure. Number 3 is a scenario that I know many people on my Discord have had struggles with, and that is Prithviraj for the Fate of India. As the name suggests, it's from the Indian Prithviraj campaign, and this one, kind of like the old tiger, you have a ton of resources. You start in the Castle Age, you do get an economy here, but you are really up against the clock, because not only do you have to fight 3 enemies who also more or less have a ton of resources, but you are on a clock because you only have 200 years before your enemies defeat you. And yeah, get a relic victory, so you have to snipe the relics, fight all of these armies that are attacking you at once, and of course they're different civilizations, so there's the Persian army, the Turkish army, and the Tartar army, so you have to get a pretty diverse army composition, and yeah, you have to hit the ground running real fast on this one. It's definitely really taxing on your multitasking, even more so than the Dai Viet Uprising, I would say, but it is at least somewhat manageable. Again, you have an economy, and once you start knocking down the monasteries holding the relics, which are, they're monasteries, you can snipe them, you do reset the timer, so that does help you a little bit, but it is very, very easy to get overwhelmed on this scenario, so definitely take care, but I would recommend lots of elephant archers and imperial camels and all that stuff, and of course, get your economy going nice and quickly. Coming in at number 2, we have a scenario right from the most recent expansion, The Last of the Khans, and it is the Battle on the Kalka River, or Kotyan Khan 2, the Cuman campaign, and this is one that I know gave a lot of people trouble. I beat it on my first try, just saying, but you, unlike the other scenarios, are on a timer that is not like hard-coded into the game, but it's like you will literally be defeated if you take too long, so you have to go as fast as humanly possible to try and take down the Tartars, who are, pretty much ahead of you in every single way. You have to get your economy going, you have very few resources to work with, and you have to just take them down before the Mongols completely overrun you, which is not too long. I mean, the scenario, like, if you're taking more than 40 minutes, you're probably getting defeated, so it's a fast one. And that is honestly, I would say, its redeeming quality too, and the only thing that separates it from being number 1, because it's just so freaking hard, is that it's a short one. You don't have to go too crazy for too long. It's not a complete grind, unlike our finalist here. So that is going to be the Battle on the Kalka River. It's on my YouTube channel if you want to know how to beat it. Total sellout, but yeah, you gotta beat the Tartars and you gotta beat them real fast. Of course, before we get to number 1, we have to get at least a couple honorable mentions here. So for our possibly not so honorable mention list, our first one is going to be the Razzia, Tariq ibn Ziyad 5, and if you've played this one before, it is not especially fun. It is you more or less fighting 2 post-imp Frank players with infinite resources, and you don't have infinite resources, and yeah, it can be really painful as you go up against a bunch of Frank paladins throwing axemen, that sort of thing. The only thing that is sort of redeeming about it, in terms of it not even making the list, is that, well, you start in the post-Imperial Age. Or not post-Imperial Age, but you start at least normal Imperial Age. And, you can chew your way through it. It just takes a long time. It is a long scenario, because you just have to really grind out that efficiency thing versus your enemies. And, you only have so much space to work with, and then you have to deal with water, and then not having access to gunpowder. It is not too fun to deal with Frank paladins when you only have access to pikemen, and you don't have enough gold for camels, and then you're feeling quite sad about life. Our second honorable mention will be Tsar of the Bulgars, or Ivaylo 3, also from The Last of the Khans. And this scenario is rough. I played it on stream, and it took me several tries to beat, because I was just at a complete loss as to what to do, because it's rather unclear. So once you rush in and save the day and get to take back this town, you are tasked with, defeating everybody. Well, I mean, technically you just have to destroy Nogay Khan's tent, but in reality you need to snipe the enemy Khans for them to become your allies, and then take the fight to the Golden Horde itself. However, the catch is, you get no economy, it's not like you have a huge amount of resources and are just, completely reliant on being tributed resources, and you get overrun almost instantly, so you really need to go in there, snipe those Khans, and then get, the Cumans to ally with you, the Tartars to ally with you, and then altogether you will be able to take down the Golden Horde. The only reason it didn't make the list is because, well, once you know what you need to do, you can do it. it's just not super clear at first what exactly you need to do. Like, you need to kill the cons, but there are actually 3 cons you need to kill, and it doesn't really say that. And then once you realize that once you kill the cons, they ally with you against Nogai, then, you know, you're pretty much good to go at that point. So it is doable, but especially if you're not prepared for it, oh boy, is this one tricky. Now, finally, we have arrived at number 1, the best laid plans, or Bari 4. So, all of the other scenarios I talked about were challenging in their own way, but I was able to defeat them anywhere between 1 and 3 tries. Doing this on my own, it took me at least 5 or 6 tries to beat this scenario. It is just that dang hard, and I wasn't even able to beat it the way they sort of want you to by defending the castle. I had to take the weenie way out of defeating all of the enemies. And yeah, this one is just like, okay, you start in Castle Age with, like, you know, a normal amount of stuff, have to defend a castle, but oh wait, you have enemies that are mid-Imperial Age that attack you like 10 minutes in! Also, it's like 4v1. You can hire the Norman mercenaries to help you out, and they do help you out, and if you are clever, you can petard down the castle in Capua before they turn enemy to you, but I certainly didn't figure that out at the time. And if you don't do that, and if you sort of, you know, beat it a legit way, quote-unquote, then yeah, it is just so insanely hard. I don't even know how you could possibly defend the castle, like, on hard difficulty. Like, I would imagine you'd lose it every single time and just have to defeat everyone else like normal, but I don't know, maybe you guys are having a much more easier time with it, but in my opinion, that is the single hardest scenario in all 157 scenarios in AoE2 DE. Alright guys, so that was it. That was my top 5 hardest campaign scenarios in AoE2 DE. Of course, let me know in the comments what you would put as your top 5, which scenarios you thought I was completely a fail on and should have had a way easier time, which scenarios do you think I would have had a harder time on, or anyone else have a harder time on it, but definitely let me know in the comments. Definitely also leave a like if you enjoyed, and do the whole subscribing, following, whatever they call it here. Yeah, if you enjoyed this, I will be doing all of the campaigns on YouTube. I've already done a good amount of them, and yeah, enjoy. The game has a lot of good campaigns, and yeah, see you guys next time.